So we've flicked all the corners, we've added a little shading, and now it's time for our watercolor wash. So here I have some Daniel Smith watercolors. As I mentioned before, here's my little swatch of all of these. So the sap green is this lovely yellowy green that I'm obsessed with, and I think it looks quite nice with the stamp. I used this one by Ranger, and it's in leaf green. And we're just gonna do a lovely, quick watercolor wash. And I'm just gonna use the reference so I kind of know where to put those colors. So my favorite Paulina Bright watercolor brushes. And away we go. So what I'm doing here, just so you can see everything, I got my brush wet in the water. Then I'm just brushing it across my half pan there. And then I'm just going to, oh, I need way more water. Just repeating that again. And then I'm just gonna brush it across the areas that I want to be green. It's as simple as that. Woo, just running this lovely color. And just repeating the same thing. I'm dunking my brush, I'm swiping it in across the palette, and then I'm sweeping it across the green areas on my paper, my hot press paper. And then we repeat. So let's see, this looks like this and this. And so we basically made ourselves a coloring page, which is super duper fun. And it looks like this is also green. And again, just swipe, swipe. Here we go. It's like the bottom half of that little lip. Yeah, the graphite and the watercolor are just a really gorgeous mixed media pair. And it's a little bit unexpected, and it's a little bit awesome. So we're gonna do these pillars down the sides. And because it's kind of like muddied from the graphite too, you can be a little messy, you can be a little loose. And it works really, really well. These wonky walls. Oh, I just put my water in my drink. Full on artist blunder, hilarious. That is hilarious. Luckily I had a bunch of ice in there. It's mostly water, but I was drinking a Grape-Aid Spindrift, so if it's tinged a little purple, you'll know why. That is so funny. All right, repeating this. On this side, water, swipe in the palette, and off we go. This one is a lot darker because I had less water on it. So be it. And then we're gonna do this side too. Basically just coloring in. I'm actually take some of this green and bring it over here. Steal it. Okay. And where else? We have underneath there is green as well. And just super quick and easy. Zoop, zoop. Awesome. Is that the only place that's green? Yes. And then this little bush should be green too, but I'm gonna make it a little bit of a darker green or a different green. Otherwise, that would be a little bit weird. If it was all the same, I think it would get lost. So I'm gonna do a darker green at the bottom. I'm actually gonna put like maybe even just like a green gold at the top. So it we want it to be different than this sap so it doesn't all run together. And we can see it better. Awesome. Okay, what's our next move, guys? Let's get going on the wood part. But actually, I don't want to touch any of that because it's still wet. So I'm going to come down here to our awesome cobblestoney-ness situation. What's a good color for this? All right, so for the stones in the front, I remember I was telling you earlier, the Hematite Genuine, that was this color I was referencing. Also this Burnt Tiger's Eye is delicious. Also this Hematite Burnt Scarlet Genuine. We got the Sepia, Burnt Umber, any of these kind of neutrally delicious ones. You know what I mean when I say delicious, right? Naturally, neutrally. These are all good stone colors. I use a lot of these when I'm doing castles because I love to draw watercolor castles. These are all my castle-y colors, but they're really good for stone. So this one is that Hematite Genuine. Know and love it well. It's also very similar to the graphite color itself. So you could even use it. In some cases, it's like, what even is that? Is that the graphite? Is it the Hematite Genuine? Do we even know? No, you don't, but I know. So kind of skittling this around because stones are not the exact same color, right? They're not painted. They're just sort of natural. So bopping that around here and there and everywhere just to get a little, oh my gosh, I have I have 2 drinks and the water next to each other and I keep diving into the water. So that's so funny. All right, now I'm gonna go into the Burnt Tiger's Eye. Just kind of like very similar to what I just did, but there's just like a hint of brown in it. Just a little bit of brown. Sorry, my best friend is Scottish, so sometimes I pick up, or I just like to imitate her, and normally do when she's around. We paint a lot together, so now sometimes it just comes out randomly. So my students know, our joint students know where I'm getting that from, but you'll just have to excuse my sudden burst into British accent. Okay, now, what else? Let's try that Hematite Burnt Scarlet Genuine. Holy names. There's so many names. Again, a lovely color for stones because it's very kind of faint coloration. And I don't mind if my other colors are still wet, if they intermingle. Totally cool. And let's, ooh, you know what I'm seeing too, which I haven't done. I'm going to add some kind of yellow gold ochre. And I'm a super lazy man watercolor painter. I do it the same thing. I don't even use a palette. I just come in here and I brush right across the pan. And then I just go. I just go for it. I don't have patience for a pan. I got too much to do. Not a pan, a palette. And all of these little in-between open places, I'm just gonna shove some yellow ochre, quick and dirty. They're cobbly cobbles. They all should have a little bit of a difference in them. Okay, and they're kind of getting a little bit lost, but we can use our graphite again to kind of help pull them apart later on, but we'll give them a chance to dry. Poop. And just fill in those empty bits. Filling in the empty bits. Oh, I forgot. I'm not supposed to sing. Okay, now the green has had a chance to dry. We can go in and work on the cool, fun bookstore. So we can do, I'm kind of torn between the sepia and the burnt umber. I think either of them would be completely fine, but I'm sort of drawn more towards, I think the sepia would give it a more sophisticated look. I think the burnt umber would give it a little bit more of a cartoony look. It's already rather cartoony though, so I'm gonna just go for sepia. I never use my sepia. So I'm gonna use it right now and start by doing this big swath across the top. Although now I'm sad I didn't use the burnt umber. Maybe I'll do that too. Oh, it doesn't matter, Karen. Just paint. Less talky, more painty. So I think it would be cool if we did a little bit darker around the edges. And then use water to kind of pull in the inside. So dark on the edge, that just means less water. Whoop. Punching it up. I've just realized I'm holding my paintbrush like a pencil right now, which is a little weird. And then what I may do is maybe I will use a little bit of that burnt umber more on the inside as more of a thinner wash. And we're gonna have to punch up those stamped letters because they are going to get lost in the shuffle. Just barely tinting this, tinting it. Tainting is weird. Tinting this makes kind of like a light stain. We'll just see how that, try that on for size. We can always reassess and change it afterwards. And I'm looking at the reference and I notice it's a little bit lighter as we go across here at the top. So I am going to do that in the burnt umber and then save the sepia for the ends. I'm being very haphazard, very loose and quick with the coloring of this part. And we have, I'm going to add that top to this. And the top to this. Like so. Now we can come in and start doing the inner pieces as well. Sepia all around the sides. Yes, you can have a coloring page, even for watercolors. So we're going to come across, across, and across. And we have our little doodad in this. Whoop. Keeping it nice and loose. Just going across those windows. And across. And across. And then we can do the doors. Now the inside panels, I do like that there is a lot of yellow that I am completely not capturing whatsoever. So I'm gonna add quinacridone gold to these bits. So that would be this bit. So instead of like a real deep yellow, I have a weird thing against yellow. I just don't like it. I don't know why. In a past life, I was killed by the color yellow or something. I just don't like it. I don't have it like in any palette, But I do love the golds. I love the oranges. Close cousin to the yellow. I just can't do the yellow. I don't know why. But I can't. So I'm not going to do it. You can't make me do it. So I'm going to do this gold instead. And I do like that there's sort of these gold elements back here and behind the books. I think it makes a cool background. And of course we also have this, can very much be our gold lantern. So bringing the same bits of color out to the other places is nice. I will accept light dabbles of golds, but no more. And I think I'm going to do the upper windows in gold also. Now those little mullions I didn't color with anything yet, so I'll have to go over those. But I'm just going to pop in all the gold bits at once just to get the party started. Oh, I guess I did two of them on this side. Do like to go out of the way to color in the things that are happening on the windows. Gives it kind of life in there. I think it looks super duper cool. We can also make this sign yellow, make it really matchy, matchy, all coordinated. And also up here, tying it all together. Because we be fancy like that. Now I wait for that to dry. I'm going to make my little potted plant over here. Also green gold at the top. And also the dark green at the bottom like we did on our other bush. I can get my greens to wake up. Oh, that's the wrong green. When you put like hooker's green into these other yellowy ones, it looks awful. I really don't like to combine color families. And we'll do the back of these books yellow too. This is the quinacridone gold. And I mean, potted plant pots are also usually that color. Just saying, while we're here, maybe we add a little burnt umber and make it a little bit darker. Okay, now back to our door. I do like the dark. If you zoom out, kind of get a eagle eye look at how things are shaping up. We can run a wash of the sepia. I'm gonna switch to my bigger watercolor brush. Bigger space, bigger brush. Oh yes. Gorgeous new brushes. Zoop. Just a light wash over everything. And luckily, because we had done that flicky with the pencil, I can still see those quite nicely. And just scrubbing a light layer of the sepia over the door. You know, watercolor can be very tight and very precise, but it also can be very loose and whimsical and kind of messy, which I personally am all about. Okay, so now we just have to get at those little books. All right, let's get these books colored in, shall we? We can just use kind of willy-nilly. But I don't want to make them too audacious because I don't want them to kind of like take away from the whole vibe of the whole piece. So maybe some of these more kind of chill blues. There's no blue in here anywhere, and these are lovely. So I think I will just kind of go in and every couple of books or so, just swipe this lovely blue. This is Mayan dark blue. Also put my glasses on so I can see what the heck I am doing here. And put them this way and this way. Oh, I forgot about these guys over here. I also tend to do what I'm doing now, which is like I get like too even with it to actually like mix them up a little bit so they don't look so perfectly alternating. See, I don't know why I do that. I do though. Okay, what would another good color book be? How about, could do another green or a soft, oh, how about just black? Which of course is coming across not black whatsoever. I think we need some browns in here. Maybe now is when we put our brown burnt umber to use. I think that would be a nice choice. Oh, that is very brown. Oh, I just went over the black one. This is how I want my shelves. You know storage shelves in rooms, like we have one in our living room where you put things on it to display and it becomes its own like work of art. And my husband and I call those shit shelves because you have to put shit on them to make them look good. And it's reminding me of that right now. And I'm also going to go and paint these window mullions while I have getting into the little itty bitty spaces. So this is just the sepia again. And actually we could use sepia for some of these books too. Helps tie everything together when we use the same colors over and over again. Can be a little boring, but I'm kind of liking the uniformity of all these old book shelf places. What else could we use? How about like a little purple? Ooh, the maroon would be really lovely. Let's do a little bit of a warm color in here. Ooh, that's nice. But not so crazy that it sticks out like a sore thumb. But helps our shit shelves look just a little bit more sophisticated for sure. All right, just a messy, loose, just kind of scribble of those books. Okay, so now we get to this point and you kind of notice everything is kind of like mooshed together because the graphite kind of faded to the back. The watercolors come forward. So the way that we're going to improve this situation, and you have lots of choices. You could do more graphite, you could do color pencil, you could do watercolor pencil, and then activate them or not activate them. And what I'm gonna do is use these sign pens to actually go around and outline. I use these a ton. In my whimsical watercolor book series, I use these a lot, and I have a whole separate video on why I'm obsessed with them. So I'll link it below if you want to learn more. But what I love about them in a nutshell is that they come in, first of all, 12 colors. The prices online I see fluctuate a ton. And again, I have everything listed in the Neat Suite for you. But I like the colors they come with. There are these super long, dramatic, like needle nose brush bristles. These are bristles. And I love the way that we did the pull, the like press down and pull flick move with our pencil at the beginning can achieve a similar effect. So you can use, they do have a black, but I'm going to see about doing this with the brown and doing it in the kind of coordinating colors. So just like we did that little flick, we can do a similar little flick with these. Because these are brush nib, you'll notice when you push down super hard, that gives a very bold, it gives a thicker line, right? If I'm doing these off on a separate sheet, if you press down really hard, it creates a thicker line. And if you do it lightly, you can create like literally like the skinniest line in the whole wide world. So just like we were messing around with our pencil, we can mess around with these sign pens as well. And I'm really pushing down to make these bold corners. Now, if they doesn't make the desired effect and I still am losing my lines, I will switch to black. But sometimes I like to give the colors a chance. Express themselves before we bring in the big black big guns, because that is a different story. And again, this is already a very whimsical project. What is under here? So I feel like we can practice. Now, it is helping. It's kind of nice. It's sort of fading into each other, but if you wanted to punch that up, you would just switch to a black. Now, not all the colors are like exactly what you're going for, but they do have a really pretty silver. So like this green, remember we talked about if the green is like, this is a yellow green and this is not a yellow green. So that would clash. So you could try a brown or you could try this gray. So it's not as like bold as black, but you could use this gray for some of these little wood details inside the green bits. And same thing, just whimsically outlining, just like we did with our graphite pencil. And then the reason I'm not using my graphite pencil, and believe me, you absolutely could, is it gets shiny. And so sometimes I don't really want super duper lots of shiny things. And so using a gray instead, these are matte, so they don't have all the shine. All of the shine biz. So for the door, do I want to use brown? Do I want to use gray? Let's see. We'll just get started here. Can always change our mind. Just hitting those corners the same way we did that with our pencil. And honestly, had I not done that with a pencil, I don't know that I would even be able to see these lines very well. So don't feel like it's wasted. The beauty in mixed media is actually just all those gorgeous layers layering on top of each other. And it's the finished result after you've done all of your hardworking layers. Okay, but if you want more punch up, then just switch to black. Switch to the gray for a second. Try this gray on for size. It's a really good practice too for these pens because it's quick and it's a lot. So you get a lot of practice in. It looks just like a pencil and it's not as bold. Now I'm going to switch to the black. See how I feel about that. Let's see between these stones. Sometimes I do like a black. But yeah, these are the nibs. They're not even nibs, they're bristles. And because they're all vary so much with your hand weight, it makes a very whimsical effect, which I love. So loosey-goosey outlining these. And I'm thinking maybe I do want the black outline. So trying it on for size and see how it looks. Can you go back? Nope. No, you cannot. But life is too short not to try stuff. And you know, it's just a drawing. It's not serious. There's a whole lot of serious schnizzle going down in the world. And this drawing is not one of them. Ooh, I really like that. I like that, I think, a little bit more than up top. So I think I'm going to continue with the black. But I wanted to show you that you can really ease into that. And so having those different colors in the set is helpful to be able to try things on. And it's a little less scary when you do it that way. So enjoy taking your time. All these little books. Oh, Max Magazine. These pens are also water soluble. So if you add water, just be careful, they will activate. But you could use a fine liner, any fine liner too. I find if you outline first and then watercolor, you get a very, very neat look. And in this case, we watercolored first and then we're lining afterwards. And oh, look at that. See, I just made a big blunder. Guess what, guys? That happens all the time. Welcome to my world. All right, I'm going to try to also outline these letters a little bit, which is also such good practice for these pens. Oh my goodness. Eee! It's really hard on the O. It's such a long nib. Super whimsical today. Fast, loose, lots of mistakes, leaving them all. And it kind of all adds up to a wonderful, hopefully not too dramatically disastrous. Okay, those are like impossible. I'm adding in some black. Ooh, you can even add it for like wood lines. All worst comes to worst, you just chuck a bunch of lines everywhere and force them to comply. It just looks like wood grain, really. At least that's what I tell myself. So outline as much or as little as makes you happy. There's no rules. It is just it is just all good. Just outlining in a fury. Oh, these little books make me so happy. I think I mentioned at the beginning, if you want to go and add more graphite, you can absolutely do that to add more shading at any time. This is so satisfying. This is like a Zentangle mode when you just go into doodle mode. Oh, that book has no color on it. Little paint pens would be super good for this. Gel pen makes a really good outliner also. I don't tend to use microns. I know they're really popular, but they're not like hardy enough for me. I tend to destroy them, so I don't tend to use those, but you could absolutely. But this is how I get in all my crazy fine bristle practice, for sure. I don't even know if that was off camera. I'm so sorry if it was. Little bushes, you can just scribble in. And our doors. And just to show you how nicely things can look with graphite, 100% is awesome on top of watercolor as well. Works super nice, super duper nicely. So just add a little graphite, take your blending stump and moosh it in. Take your soft pencil, take your blending stump and moosh it in. And repeat. Graphite, blending stump, moosh it in. So that's so pretty. So pretty. This is a hot mess express up here. Adding some graphite. Make sense of the madness. I think I will use some colored pencil here. I got so carried away with all my layers that it's just literal madness. And that's in a bad way. That's not good madness. That's bad madness. We'll fix that in a minute. I am having a shading party at the moment and I am having a blast. So I'm going to go with it. Let's add some darkness to these corners of these doors. Ooh, yes. The door frames. Ooh, that is just delicious. I do have a whole video on black wings and my obsession with them for mixed media use. They work in both regular traditional drawing, but also they're a dream in mixed media, as you can see. Hitting those corners. Always run, add more graphite, and then moosh them in. And make this, if we add a darker line here, it will look like those doors are kind of, one is slightly in front of the other. By adding a shadow line. On this one, it looks like this one is slightly in front. And where else can we really pack a punch for shading? We can add some across the threshold here. It's amazing what a dirty little blending stump can do. And then this is a step down, so there will be a lot of shading here. On this side, as well as in this crease here. So I'm gonna smoosh my graphite under that step. Gives the illusion that these are gonna be raised up a little bit. Have a little bit in here. And I noticed the face of all these are also. So going back with our pencil. Even if you wanted to add a drop shading around this guy, this is the way to do it. Just take that graphite and moosh it onto the white of your paper. Oh, we got our little lantern over here. Moosh that around in there. We're mooshing all the places today. Okay. Where else can we shade? I think back in our areas here. And in here. Awesome. So take as long or as little as you like to color all of these bits all the way in. That's a little harsh. If something is ever too much, it's just graphite. You can erase it. So take your eraser and erase it back. That's all you have to do. Here's a little pot. Boo, boo, boo. Also casting a shadow on this side. And in 2 seconds, we have more interest at our pot. All right, so how can we level this up for good before we leave it? Let's see. Oh, it's coming together. This is a long one. This is 10 times longer than this was supposed to be. But, you know, kind of here we are. It is what it is. So I have some fun markers out. These are just markers by Artex. And I do really enjoy them, the markers, which are a lovely addition to your mixed media practice. These are nice because you don't need to like shake them or pump them to get them started. They just work out the gate, which is super nice. I have a nice tutorial on these on this channel as well. But I wanted to I do really love kind of the ivy that's coming down over these. And I also love that they're lighter than the building. And I don't know that I have, because this is kind of light too. That might just be the same exact color. So I might have to go darker, but I really love these markers. And they're really easy for doing sort of leaf shapes like this because you can use them like a stamp, honestly. So if we want to have these, the ivy bits draping down, I do think it's so pretty and it just sticks. Like, it's like a stamp, which is really nice. And I might do 2 colors. And look at this, they kind of grow towards up here. I didn't actually draw in the little strands, the vines. I might do that afterwards. But it's nice that they sit on top. See, isn't it? They're opaque, so they cover beautifully. So if I wanted to put like a highlight on all of these, I could. Oh yeah, it is like the same color as the paint. So I'm glad I did the dark first. Just putting a little stamp on top. Maybe it's a little fuller up here. Also hides my ugly outline. And then you can use the whatever pen you want to do the little vines that these are growing out of. This is just that little gray sign pen. Shoop, shoop. And that is a lovely addition. Just using this by like a stamp. And it works over the graphite as well. Using my reference to help me figure out where to put these guys. Just having them kind of going over this way. Hugging the bookstore. And have some up here. I love mixed media that you can just kind of do whatever you want and mix and match your materials, and you don't need to be a purist. It's so freeing. And put some out here. I also was eating an apple just now, and it was like, came in to contemplate, and I stuck my wet hand on my painting, and it smeared my door, in case you're wondering where those marks came from. That's just me being a slob. And these kind of dwindle down. Add a little highlighty bit because we're so fancy like that. But no, these are really great pens. And I like that they have a little brush nib. That makes them easy, super easy to work with. This is one of those projects that I just don't want to end, so I'm just futzing for no purpose, and I am not sorry. I think these little signposts could use a little color. So you got tired of watercoloring, you could use your paint markers. They are fantastic for all of this. I wonder if these lighter colors would sit on top of the darker ones. Ooh. My poor doors are lost. So using these to kind of add a little interest. Does that work? Yeah, it kind of does. It actually kind of like fades. It's not super opaque where it's sitting on top, but it's also very busy. Look, I have my wet water mark. I have the graphite. It's a little like crazy in there, but it does add a little interest, which I super appreciate. So let me know in the comments what else you would like to do this year, 2026. I'm dedicating it to doing a lot more real-time tutorials like this one. I figure I could shorten them up, but also like people can also just fast forward if it's too long. We have the ability. I watch a lot of stuff on like 2 times speed. I'm so impatient all the time. So that is always an option as well. But yeah, let me know what you might like to see for the rest of the year. Anything in specific or special? More animals, more people. I am happy to experiment. I love being a guinea pig and trying out things. Sometimes it doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. And if you have any questions about anything, let me know. This went on for days. This one is going on for days and days. I'm going to drop shadow around the whole thing. So I'm just going to fits and futs. And if you want to do the same to yours and share it with me, I would love to see that. You can drop it in my Facebook group. I will leave a link in the description, and you can even use the hashtag Karen's YouTube. And I choose a winner every 30 days to win a free art book. or a pencil pouch. You might as well, if you're going to be creating along with me, I would love to see, and you might as well win an awesome epic prize when you do. All right, subscribe, and I'll be back next week with another couple of crazy videos where we sketch and then we color them in using different mixed media materials. And I haven't even decided what I'm going to do yet. I am taking requests, so let me know below, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.